And in our first story, former Vice President Dr. Bawumia is asking President John Mahama to quote immediately rein in his security operatives. His call follows a visit to MP for Assin South and ranking member of Parliamentary Select Committee on Defence and Interior, Reverend John Ntim Fordjour's house on Wednesday after an attempted raid by some alleged officials of the National Intelligence Bureau. Dr. Bawumia's statement reads, "Last night, following the attempted raid by some alleged officials of the National Investigations Bureau, I visited Honorable Reverend John Ntim Fordjour, MP for Assin South and ranking member of Parliamentary Select Committee on Defence and Interior." Reverend Fordjour was in high spirits and undaunted. I urge all party faithfuls to remain calm, steadfast and law-abiding in this period of unfortunate political persecution. I wish to reiterate my earlier submission to the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, to immediately rein in his security operatives. State institutions must not be reduced to political tools used to harass and intimidate opponents. Ghanaians will not accept this descent into lawlessness and fear. Our democracy is hinged on due process and rule of law. Well, let's explore this further. We've been joined by Nana Ejay Bawumia, MP Mensah South, Member, Parliament's Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee. We are grateful for your time, sir, on our desk. First of all, the incident that happened yesterday, I understand that leaders of the minority were there, yourself, but you were a member of the legal committee in Parliament. What do you make of what happened yesterday?
Thank you very much. I was one of the first people to have got into his house. When I went there, I met the General Secretary himself, and the house surrounded by persons holding themselves as security personnel, armed to the teeth, wearing proof. It was a very sad spectacle, you know. It was a very sad spectacle, to say the least, because I imagine Reverend Fordjour, who is not a man of my height, a man of my build, right? You know, it's very smallish. Then you can imagine all these people coming after him. You know, I think that it was very unfortunate. What made it even more unfortunate, and I felt very sad about it, was the fact that he was suffering or taking the intimidation because he spoke for and on behalf of the minority. I then asked myself, is it the case that everyone that speaks for the minority will be arrested? I mean, it was very pathetic, considering how far we have come in our democracy. I least suspected that at all. If the minority in Parliament, in playing their oversight role, is going to go through this, then of course it's clear that there is an attempt to gag us, right? The question is, have you had time to read his press statement? Have you had time?
You mean Reverend Ntim Fordjour?
The press statement that he read for and on behalf of the minority. Have you had opportunity to read it?
No, I've not read it, the statement itself, but we've listened to excerpts of it that he said in the press statement, in the press conference.
It is important that you read the press statement.
Your point is?
The point is, his press statement does not warrant all these things. He didn't say anything harmful. He didn't make any allegation against government.
So let me understand
what
from
he
you.
Said, What he said, right? He laid two simple factual bases and proceeded to ask questions. One, there has in recent times been 2 arrests, right, of 2 separate arrests of substance suspected to be cocaine in substantial quantity, right, assessed or estimated to be in excess of $300 million, right? And he's asking, where are the persons involved in the trafficking?
So at least we know from the stance of Reverend Ntim Fordjour, he's asked about the flights that landed in the country, also about the drug bust that happened somewhere in the western or central region, about 350 million cedis worth of cocaine, you know, and also the bit about the gold bust that happened some weeks ago. All these came together under his statement asking government to investigate into this. Well, that is done. But do we understand the reason why the National Intelligence Bureau, you know, stormed his house yesterday? Was there any reason?
Before I proceed, let me do this correction. It wasn't Reverend Ntim Fordjour's statement. It was the minority statement which he read. All of us couldn't have read that statement.
Led by him,
he read
anyway.
it on our behalf, yes.
All right.
Now, they came there because they said they wanted him to come and answer questions in respect of the first statement, right? And so they have come to arrest him. I mean, if you have come to arrest him, you come with, if you want him to answer questions, firstly, he's a member of parliament, right? The precedent is that you go through the Speaker of Parliament, and then the Speaker would make arrangements for him to be available. In this instance, why don't they want to go through the Speaker of Parliament? Just last week, Monday, you must have seen in circulation a communication from the Speaker informing 2 of our members of a similar arrangement for the Bureau of National Intelligence or National Intelligence Bureau to come and speak to them in Parliament. So why Reverend Ntim Fordjour be treated differently?
So, Mr. Bafwewa, Article 117 says that civil or criminal process coming from any court or place out of Parliament shall not be served on or executed in relation to the Speaker or a member or a clerk to Parliament while he is on his way to attending at or returning from any proceedings of Parliament. But here we sit, Parliament is on recess. Do you still think that they couldn't have gone to his house to initiate whatever they wanted to do there?
Notwithstanding Article 117, an arrangement has been reached, which arrangement has been followed. And I cited what happened last Monday, right? Even though Parliament is on recess, that was what happened. And so, really and truly, you know, it is not a different situation. Even though Parliament is on recess, that arrangement has been respected. The question is, why is that arrangement not being respected this time? But more importantly, are we going to arrest everyone that speaks for the minority? Is that what you're going to do? The minority is supposed to play or assist in the oversight of the executive by raising fundamental or key questions that will enable it govern well in accordance with law. So if the minority is performing that duty, right, it cannot have everyone, right, speak at the same time. Definitely somebody will speak for us. So are we saying that anyone that speaks for us will be arrested?
Well, that's a question to government. But right now, the situation has happened. What's the next step? I understand that a petition has been sent to the Speaker to, you know, intervene in this situation. Have you heard from the Speaker yet? I'm
yet to be briefed or updated on that.
Okay, so then what's the next step for Reverend Ntim Fordjour? How's he proceeding?
That will be made known soon, as soon as a decision is made on the next step.
Well, let's come to the substantive issue on the reason why Reverend Ntim Fordjour is being called, or I beg your pardon, as allegedly, supposedly to be arrested. The issue about the suspicious flights coming into the country, the bit about liaising with the various security agencies to come to the bottom of the complaint that you have. What has become of that?
Government should be telling us what has become of that. Is it the case that the various security agencies that the president per his social media post spoke of, right, that they should come together and cooperate with Reverend Ntim Fordjour, right? Is the cooperation arrest by the president saying they were going to cooperate? Was he referring to an arrest like we witnessed yesterday? Secondly, yesterday, the 2 days after Reverend Ntim Fordjour's press statement, and indeed the subsequent social media post by the president, the president's spokesperson, right? The president's spokesperson, my good friend Felix Oposu Kwache, Honorable, right, did spoke to Asempa, right, clearly dismissing the president's earlier position of cooperation with the security agencies to make the evidence available, saying that it wasn't even necessary. The next question, therefore, is it a case that the president's position has changed from cooperation to an arrest? We should know all this because, you see, what the minority put out through Reverend Ntim Fordjour, right, it's not something that can be glossed over. Fundamentally, there is no dispute as we speak that there was indeed a major drug bust. Fundamentally, the question that will follow is, where are the drugs? The next question will be, are the persons involved, the culprits, have they been arraigned for any sort of competent jurisdiction, right? Then he went on to proceed to say that, look, in the spirit of transparency, right, in the same spirit of transparency for which these disclosures were made to us, we have further information by way of suspicious landing of certain aircraft in Ghana, right? Can the security agency make us, do us a favor by disclosing to us, right, whether they were involved in anything suspicious by way of carriage, right? When he asked this question and even proceeded to commend the security agencies, why should this necessitate the kind of reason in terms of the full force of state on him?
Well,
right? Look, let me tell you what the problem really is. The problem is not Reverend Ntim Fordjour, who was the minority spokesperson in this instance. The problem has to do with the reaction of government. Reverend Ntim Fordjour never accused government. Reverend Ntim Fordjour only demanded for answers.
But Reverend Ntim Fordjour stated that these airlines came in with illicit drugs. And the government came to respond that this is not true, giving reasons why these aircraft came to the country. The next question was, does Reverend or the minority have evidence to prove the allegations? We haven't had any substantive response to that.
In response, following the government's reaction, Reverend Ntim Fordjour, speaking for the minority, again demonstrated serious inconsistencies in the government's response. But be that as it may, in terms of evidence, right, do you think that the appropriate thing to do is to also put it in the public domain? Is that what you want us to do?
Reverend Ntim Fordjour started by a press conference without going to the security agencies.
But the press conference did only ask questions.
And also making a substantive statement.
It up, the government then showed its intention, which for me was commendable, right, of making sure that there was cooperation between Reverend Ntim Fordjour acting for and on behalf of the minority,
right,
to make the necessary evidence available. Then subsequently, government spokesperson comes to rubbish the whole thing. Do you think that government is ready to deal with that in good faith?
So why then don't you bring evidence to prove that, yes, what I'm saying is true, and then we know why a government proceeds?
That decision will be made.
All right.
But we were being responsible.
Right.
Because knowing what we know, it wouldn't have been appropriate, right, to do what you are asking for.
Right.
We thought that we're going to use, for instance, the Parliamentary Select Committee on Interior and Defense, right? Because, these things, you need to make sure that you make them available within trusted and secured forum, okay? Not just anybody, right? But the very people who should be interested in this clearly have acted in bad faith. Clear intention not to cooperate, clear intention not to be interested in this. So what do you expect him to do in the circumstance?
All right, so
he is just being cautious. Don't forget, he's been a Minister of State before, right? He is a ranking member of the Interior and Defense Committee. He knows the importance of security, and he knows that he has to bear his time and make sure that he provides it within a secured environment, secured and trusted environment. That secured and trusted environment, clearly government is not ready to provide.
The seeming dichotomy or the seeming division between the minority and majority on the Defense Committee in assessing this issue, and also I want to know how you react to that. And on your committee, is there anything you're doing in light of what is happening?
We would assess all these things given the development yesterday, and we'll decide on the way forward. But clearly, that tells you that the members, you see, the dichotomy between the minority and the majority on the Interior and Defense Committee clearly shows where everyone's interest is. Whereas the minority is interested in protecting the security image and reputation of Ghana, the majority is not interested. They are clearly not interested.
Right.
It is not in dispute that there has been a major bust. Where is that? Where is that cargo? Where are the corporates? What court of law have they been arranged before? Right? I mean, we are asking questions. We are not accusing anybody. Aren't we entitled to information? We are speaking past the right to information. Aren't we entitled to information? Yeah, every Ghanaian is entitled to information, right? Shouldn't the people of Ghana know what has happened following the major cocaine bust? Shouldn't Ghanaians be interested, or we shouldn't know? Is that what the majority is saying? Is that what the government is saying?
All right. So just before I let you off, how is Reverend Ntim Fordjour faring after yesterday?
He's in good spirit. He's determined to work for Ghana and do more for Ghana, not just because of the living, but also the future.
Right. And you're still going to proceed with the allegations you're making?
My sister, she has raised questions. If the government wants cooperation, cooperate to the government. If the government has won cooperation, then we'll be forced to look at that avenue, make the information available to the general public charge. So, Reverend Ntim Fordjour is now, together with the minority, assessing our options. We are up. So we are up.
We're very grateful for your time. Nana Eje Bafo is a member of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee there. Away from that, stakeholders in the Bawku enclave are calling for cool heads to prevail in the area to find a lasting solution to the impasse. This is after one person was killed while the private residence of the Bawku Divisional Police Commander, ACP Adamu Seidu, was set on fire in renewed clashes on Wednesday. Let's get updates on the situation from our correspondent, Albert. Albert, How is the area this morning?
Obviously, calm has returned to Bawku, but we're told that tensions are still quite in the atmosphere because of what happened yesterday. As we speak, security chiefs, including the Regional Security Council, are meeting various groups, traditional authorities, some of the youth leaders, to try and call for cool heads to prevail, because last night there were some other attacks apart from what we heard in the afternoon, which involved the burning of the private residence of the divisional police commander and some other places where police and other security agencies live. We told that a barracks was attacked, as you saw in the video that was just on the screen. Some police vehicles were also burnt, and my sources within the security say that it had to take a lot of caution for the security personnel not to sort of retaliate and to further try and fire guns in order to restrain some of these youth who were on a rampage of a sort. So this morning, things are a bit calm now, but the residents say that there's some tension still in the atmosphere.
So, Albert, for some of those watching who may not necessarily know the reason for the attack, why was the police attacked in that manner in the area? What was the reason?
So the information we gather is that because of the long-standing chieftaincy conflict between the Mamprosis and the Kusasis, for some time they had to stop trading in the same market. So each of the factions have a market where they trade alone. They don't mingle and trade together. However, in the last few days, there's a market where one of the factions, claim ownership. They say that market belongs to them. But for some reason, women from their rival faction started coming there to trade. It would appear that for the women, they don't really have a problem, trading together. But some of the youth resisted, and they wanted the women removed. These women from their rival faction who came into the market, they wanted them to stop coming. What our security sources say is that some of the youth actually began to attack the women. And so yesterday, in order to prevent them from attacking the women, not necessarily insisting that the women should be allowed to trade, but they were preventing some of the youth who were attacking the women from doing so. And this was how a scuffle ensued between the police who were in the market at the time and some of the youth. Now, in the course of all of this, some guns were fired. It is unclear at the moment where or how the firing started, but from what we are told, the police had to return some fire that was fired in their direction, and in the process, some people were shot. One civilian has lost his life. We are told that 2 others are severely injured from that particular attack. And so, in response to all of this, some of the angry youth started to attack the police anywhere they could find them. This morning, further details I got from security sources indicated that they first went to attack the official bungalow of the the divisional police commander. And when they realized that security presence there wouldn't help them, some of them then went to his private residence. He doesn't live in that particular residence, and they burnt down that house. There were some other houses where police personnel live, and that is the place they call a barracks. these residences were also attacked by some of the youth, and they were also set on fire. The fire was set to some of the rooms. Police vehicles, as you saw, were also burnt.
Right.
And so it had to take a lot of restraint and caution to prevent the matter from escalating further, because we are told that in Zebila last night, a police officer was ambushed and he was shot in the arm. He's currently receiving treatment in hospital. An immigration officer was also caught during the shooting later in the afternoon, and he is also injured and receiving treatment as well. So, Mami, that's basically the story. It's very murky, and if you listen to some of the information coming through, it was highly dangerous, especially yesterday.
But how is the police commander? Is he all right? I hope he's not injured.
So I was talking to the police hierarchy this morning, just before I joined you on this program. What I've been told is that he's fine. He's still trying to do his work and all that. But obviously, he definitely feels, attacked, because he didn't anticipate that this could happen, considering the number of years he has worked in the Bawku municipality. Even some of the elders in Bawku who I've been talking to say that he's been very meticulous in his job, and they feel that it's unfortunate that such a thing has happened to him. And this is the reason the security chiefs are currently dialoguing with various people in authority to try and call for cool heads. Otherwise, we could have seen a far dangerous escalation today.
Right.
But from what I'm told, everything is calm, and there haven't been any disturbances yet this morning.
Thank you so much, Albert, for that comprehensive report. Now, moving on, the Ghana Institute of Foresters has joined calls for a repeal of LI 2462, demanding that government takes proactive measures to halt operations of armed gangs in the country's forest reserves. The group says it has observed with concern a disturbing trend of heavily armed groups besieging the forest reserves for illegal gold mining or timber extraction. Joining me now via Zoom for a conversation on this is the president of the Ghana Institute of Foresters, Dr. Abukari Nantoma Atta. We're grateful for your time, sir. How dire is the situation on ground pertaining to the clashes with armed men and forest guards?
Good morning, Mami Isi.
Good morning.
I'm sure your guest will be as good as mine. Your own reporter, Erasmus Asaredonko, sometime back last year, went round our forest reserves in the Ashanti region and were attacked by armed gangs. Just few days to the launch of the Three for Life Restoration Initiative, the Nkawia District Forest Manager did report that they were stopped at the gates of the forest reserves, brutalized, and some of our members' legs were nearly severed by people using machetes. And if not for good doctors at Komfonochi Hospital, we would have lost most of them. Now, let me tell you again, or let me use this media to tell Ghanaians that we must sit up. Now, armed guards, rival armed guards are now fighting for jurisdiction within the forest reserves for gold deposits. It's getting to a time that armed guards will come to communities and tell community members that we have gold deposits here. So there's the need for us to let you relocate and we take over. Amazing, that is the situation on the ground now.
So that's disheartening anyway, but let us understand the work you do in the forest. What really do you do?
Now, let me give you a preamble. If you look at Section 2D of Act 1927, Cap 157, these forest reserves were carved out for one, to safeguard our water bodies; two, to ecologically save the integrity of the forest reserve; three, to encourage sustainable supply of forest timber supply to both domestic and international; and finally, to create a microclimate for the production of cocoa. Now, these were established in 1927, and the colonial masters knew very well that before even 1957, Ghana was called Gold Coast, that every part of Ghana has gold deposits. Why did they carve out these reserves? For simple reasons, for the 4 reasons that I gave to you. So forest guards are mandated by law to go in and protect the water bodies, the biodiversity, and the supply of sustainable timber for both local and international consumption.
Right. So, Doc, I just want to get from you. You're supposed to guard the forest, essentially. Now, you're not being allowed to do your work. How then do you protect yourselves in the face of what's happening? Are you given any form of protection by government that you work for, or you are not able to stand up to what is happening in your jurisdiction?
I mean, you see, in the past, the government did assist the Forestry Commission by asking military and police to come and join us to protect our reserves. For unwanted reason, we don't know why they decided to take them off. And it's after their withdrawal that we started having these attacks on our forest men and forest guards. So we think that we are not well protected because the Forestry Commission has a unit that is called the Rapid Response Force. It's a paramilitary unit of the Forestry Commission, which is also mandated to protect. But the arms that they have cannot match what the guards, the illegal guards who go to destroy our forests and even mine in our forest reserves cannot match them. So when they go in, they are being chased out. And Mommy, you have your own house and you go in and somebody who is not part of it is chasing you out. So we are making a clarion call to the president that they should return the soldiers and the policemen to come and help us to protect our forests. Well, now let me add this. Ghana is a signatory to most of the protocols, international protocols, that ensures that we must sustainably manage our forests and take out wood or timber sustainably. Now, you can imagine the distractions on the forest, both illegal chainsaw operators and the miners, what they have done to our forest reserves. So in the next few years, we may be asked that the European Union would not buy timber from Ghana because it's not coming out from sustained managed forests.
All right.
Now you can go ahead.
Well, very, very briefly, you're also seeking the repeal of LI 2462 and some amendments to certain laws. Briefly, very briefly, what are you seeking?
In fact, let me be honest with you and say this, that the Ghana Institute of Foresters, we are against the amendment of the LI 2462. One of the reasons why we are asking that it should not be amended is that the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency or Authority, are mandated by Act 490. Also under Act 1124. The EPA is the sole national authority responsible for setting, monitoring, and enforcing environmental standards. It can effectively perform these duties without requiring an entry permit for the Forestry Commission. What I want to say here is that if they think that they can amend the LI 2462 for EPA to get entry into the forest reserve, then it is non-starter. Because that is not their mandate.
Right.
It is the mandate of Forestry Commission to manage the forest.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Atta. They're giving us updates on illegal mining. Now, the Minister for Communications, Digitalization and Innovation, Samuel Nante George, has unveiled plans for a comprehensive national SIM card registration set to begin on July 1st this year. Addressing the press in Accra on Wednesday, Sam George clarified that this will not be a SIM re-registration, but rather what he describes as a proper registration process aimed at ensuring a more efficient and accessible system for all Ghanaians.
Many people have, and there was an instance, law enforcement instance that I encountered in my very first week. We're working with the then Cybersecurity Director General. We identified a number, saw the Ghana, did a cross-referencing with the number, the Ghana card that was used to register the card, geolocated the person, security did an operation, but it became immediately clear that the individual whose Ghana card, who we had picked up on the back of his Ghana card, was not the same person as the person who was using the same card. And that's simply because you have unscrupulous people who registered pre-registered SIM cards using people's Ghana cards. You go and you try to register and then they tell you, oh, the network is down. It didn't go through, but they had registered a SIM card. And then they take your card again and do another registration. And then they begin to sell those pre-registered SIM cards. And so you will be an innocent person sitting down, and because your Ghana card had been used to pre-register a SIM card that was used in fraud, you'll be picked up. So people may think that, oh, but we went through the hassle. Yes, and I appreciate it. I was one of, in fact, I was Christian Stubborn Academy because I opposed the registration process because we questioned the technical basis of doing what was being done. And that's why I make a solemn pledge to you that you will not have to queue. You will not have to go and leave work for a day or two to get your SIM registered. There's a whole simple technical process behind it. It will be interactive. It will engage you. The regulator has seen the demo of it and how it works. We are very clear in our minds what we're going to do. Because if you've submitted your biometrics to the NIA and the NIA has captured your biometrics,
well, let's speak to IT consultant Maximus Ametoko on this. Maximus, please, you've listened to the minister. Considering what happened somewhere under the previous administration and what the minister is saying now, how should we understand this?
So from what I just heard, it means that it's a different approach to verifying who Ghanaians are in terms of those who use SIM cards for telecom services. Mm-hmm. So it may not be the same re-registration process where you have to go and queue and identify yourself, and then a SIM card will be assigned to you, or your pre-registered SIM card will be, assigned to your identity.
And this process that the minister is taking, what do you make of it?
Yeah, for me, we want to see the technology. Usually when you speak it, it's different from when you implement it. So we want to see the approach and the method that you're going to use to do that. And the issue is that the previous government, in terms of the NIA, they linked over 24 million accounts to your Ghana card. So your SNIT, your bank account, your DVLA, your passport, and all other forms of government ID systems or government institution ID systems were linked to the Ghana card. So
I'm wondering what exactly they are going to do again in terms of the registration they are saying, the minister is saying currently.
Which is where many of us are a bit confused, because I think that I'm registered, I have my information in the system. Why do I have to go through another process, getting that whole, information back into the system? But really, what also catches my attention is the fact that we'll have to register our phone ID numbers as part of it. What does that mean?
So what it means is that, every device has their own ID numbers. Every device is supposed to have that. It's a convention by the ITU, International Telecommunications Union, so that they have a library of all the phone brands and the numbers assigned to each of them, just like the way they want to assign you a SIM card. So Maximus's SIM card is his identity, data set. So if a device is imported into Ghana, the registered, the ID number of the device must be assigned to the user. So because hitherto you don't know what is your ID number for your phone, the phone that you are using, or the modem that you are using, or the laptops that you are using. So now that they are going to create a registry for it, it becomes easier to even identify people by the devices, not just by the SIM cards.
But what will be the implications of that if I lose my phone? I change my phone. What does that mean then?
Yeah, so at least it will be verified that you lost your phone, or your phone is still using the SIM card that is registered to you, or somebody else is using a different SIM card in your own device. So there are a lot of security implications when it comes to the devices that are assigned to you. So I can't just go and use your phone number with a different SIM card, because when they are checking their system, they can tell that this SIM card has used your phone to communicate with somebody and engaged in whatever fraud or criminal activity they've engaged in. So all those things help in identifying people and also fighting cyber crime.
Well, just before I let you off, government is also planning to churn out 1 million coders. They've already working on rolling out that program. What do you make of that?
I think it's a very fantastic idea. Any idea to give the young people jobs in terms of technology, those of us who are in the space know a lot of opportunities within that space. But what I've realized is that even though it's 1 million coders, they have other courses that have been put under it. So I heard the coding is just a basic, requirement for that. So they have data protection managers, data protection officers, data protection professional certification courses under it. I wonder how that is coding, but maybe there's a name that they've given the project to give training to the young people in coding, because we know coding is for programming and developing products.
Right. Well, Maxwell, before I let you off, I just want your view, honest view about this decision or process government is going on the registration exercise. What do you make of it? Is it a smart move? What do you think?
For me, I think that they already have our data. They've registered us. NIA has our data. They have a lot of data points about us as subscribers already. And then the re-registration was done, which means that they have all those data to work with, run into the software to identify and verify people. When it comes to identity, it's about verification, authentication. So verification is I provided information that I attended pre-sec. How do you verify? You go to pre-sec to check whether Maximus attended pre-sec. That is verification. Then making sure that I have any other information to authenticate the fact that I am Maximus. So if I go to the bank to use my ID card, if I go into the driver's license and use my ID card, anywhere I use my ID card, you are using it to authenticate that it's really me. So if another person uses my information, that is identity theft, or that becomes a crime under the law. So that's how it's done. So for me, verifying people, you don't need them to do it yourself. You don't need them to do the verification. Government can do that. And then all you need to do is push an information to me, the Maximus, you realize that based on their database, these phone numbers are assigned to you. are these your numbers? If it's true, send a text back or do something else that the subscriber can easily know that you are the one sending them that information to verify their SIM cards. If not, it's going to be difficult because the challenge with internet connection and even the telecom coverage, around the country is going to make it difficult to authenticate people in their homes by themselves. Now they are here, there's going to be liveliness test. It means you pick your phone and then you turn your face upside down, up and down for it to capture your facial expressions so you can run it through the system to identify you as the individual owning that card. Right. And it's not everybody who has a smartphone. So I wonder how the feature phone owners are going to be verified using the liveliness test.
Thank you so much, Maximus Ahmed Togo, who is an IT consultant. Now moving on, today at 6 p.m., Ghana's energy leaders gather for a major turning point.
For more than a decade, Ghana's power supply has faced a relentless struggle. At the center of it all, the electricity company of Ghana. Crippled by debt, weighed down by mismanagement, tugged at and twisted by politics. And the question keeps echoing across the nation. Can ECG be saved? This Thursday at 6 p.m., Ghana's energy leaders gather for a major turning point, a national dialogue on the future of ECG. It's live on Joy News, Joy 99.7 FM, and myjoyonline.com. We will seek honest answers, practical solutions, and a clear path forward. What to do with ECG? It's time to talk. It's time to act. Be a part of the conversation.
And Sweetie Abochi is with me in the studio to tell us why you should be part of this conversation. Sweetie, welcome.
Thank you, Mami.
Are you ready for tonight?
Absolutely ready for tonight.
Right. So I'd like to understand why is it so crucial to have this conversation at this time?
Because actually, this conversation is crucial for several reasons, but I want to highlight only three. Right. The first one is there is an urgent need to address widespread public concern. The Electricity Company of Ghana is pivotal to industry, individual livelihoods at home, everywhere. And we still have reports of doomsday, and I use that term in a general way, not to mean that doomsday like we knew it back in the days, but, intermittent power outages here and there. We have billing issues, we have debt issues, and this doesn't...
Missing containers?
Yes, all that. And a national dialogue brings us all together, gives us the opportunity to lock in and not only voice out these concerns, but also identify the crevices and then begin to fix them. The second one is transparency and accountability. And like you rightly said, missing containers, procurement breaches, the list goes on and on. It has become imperative for us to all sit together and find out what went wrong and then where do we begin to fix the problem. And the third one is, of course, policy and reform direction. Recently, we know that the technical committee that was tasked to find out how we can actually privatize or come up with some reports and results and all that, we want to hear from them as well. So tonight at 6 p.m., it's crucial for us to hear from key stakeholders, the leadership of the major stakeholders in the power sector, to tell us what we are doing with ECG.
Well, you're talking about key stakeholders. Who are we expecting tonight?
We have someone coming from the ministry, hopefully the minister himself from Energy and Green Transition. We have Public Utility Workers Union. We can't have this conversation with them. We have the Public Utilities Regulator.
Without them, you mean?
Without them, I mean. And we have people coming from customs. We have someone coming, various stakeholders, Mamesi. It's
I can't,
an all-encapsulating conversation.
I really don't want to miss that, and definitely it will be interesting to engage.
I should add that the audience are invited to join us because it's live, and your questions can
in the studio.
In the studio,
right? So
that we can address whatever concerns that you have as well.
They have. Thank you so much, Sweetie. And you definitely don't want to miss that opportunity to make your concerns heard. Well, we'll also give viewers, the opportunity to express their concerns via phone lines as well, and also through text. You're still listening to News Desk here on the Joy News channel. We'll be right back.
It's time for business here on News Desk. My name is Winston Taki, and out to our first business story. South African Airways is making moves to reclaim its position as the leading Pan-African carrier, with Ghana playing a central role in its growth strategy. During an exclusive engagement with travel trade partners and journalists, Chief Executive Officer of South African Airways, Professor John Lamola, outlined the airline's remarkable turnaround and future plans to enhance Africa's global connectivity.
Ghana has a very rich political heritage and a culture which is admired mainly from within South Africa. The people of South Africa love Ghana. And but besides that, Ghana for us is a most strategic, Accra, let me say Accra as a city is the most strategic hub for our strategy within the West Africa market, where we have had discussions today. We met with the Minister of Transport, where we talked about how we can create more value within that partnership as we expand our routes. The aim is to increase our frequencies from the current 4 to at least 1 daily between Johannesburg and Accra, and beyond that, to also we are evaluating the possibility of starting a route directly from between Ghana and Cape Town, as well as utilizing Accra like SAA has done before as a connector to our east coast of the United States cities.
Still on it, Professor John Lamola has also announced plans to launch direct flight from Accra to the United States by the end of 2026 as part of its broader West African expansion strategy.
Absolutely, air travel is one of the number of modes of travel that the government has a mission, any Ministry of Transport. But in Africa, there's a particular challenge that the minister raised, which is the issue of ensuring that there is competition, because competition will ensure that travel become accessible to the rest of the population. And it is also within that spirit that the desire for us to go into the East Coast American city markets is to dilute the current landscape of that market. When South African Airways go into that market, prices will become cheap and people will be able to fly more and further.
That's all for business here on News Desk. My name is Winston Taki. Back to Mamesi.
Winston, thank you so much for business. But that's how we wrap up this morning's edition of News Desk. Thank you for watching.